Hello and welcome to the Comicspiracy, episode 377 for the week of November 27th, 2018. My name is Ryan Higgins, who's here with me this week.
Brock Sager.
Kevin.
And Charlie.
Brock, you got to be like 9 feet closer to your mic. Your mic's way over there.
I know, because I'm finishing eating, because I've been packaging stuff.
Turn your mic off while you're eating, then. Nobody wants to hear your mouth smacking.
Whoa.
This isn't the eat box. Come on, man. You really did shove the entire rest of that sandwich in your mouth in one bite, huh? Jesus Christ. Hey, what's going on? It's a comic book podcast, not a podcast about whatever that was, food stuff.
Shoving sandwiches in your mouth.
Not a ton of news. We're in the holiday season, so of course kind of quiet. Before we get to some of that news, though, I would like to ask around table, everyone have a good Thanksgiving, and more importantly, everyone have a good shopping holiday weekend, where you could buy lots of nerd stuff at ridiculously low prices?
Yes, I had my good shopping time before Thanksgiving, after Thanksgiving, through this week. It's just that time of year now.
Yeah, it's no longer Black Friday. It's Black November.
Yeah.
What got me was that Comixology sale.
Oh, yeah.
That thing was crazy. I mean, my
They do it every year, yeah.
cart was obscene. And I actually said, I am not going to cash out until I can get this down by 50%. I don't mean cost. I mean number of titles. Because there's already probably 20 things in my Comixology that I haven't read from the last time they did one of these sales.
Yeah, I told people always look out for those Comixology sales. Black Friday, Cyber Monday, they are crazy. So hopefully you guys picked up some good stuff from our store.
I think you could have gotten all of the Sandman books for like $60.
Yeah, no, they had a lot of like $4 trades, $3 trades. They had tons and tons of stuff.
No, I've slowed down on Comixology just for that exact reason. The amount of stuff I've purchased on Comixology that I haven't got around to reading, because the only time I read on my tablet is when I'm traveling.
Yeah.
And I haven't been doing much traveling, so I have a huge library of stuff that I still need to get through.
You own Kingdom Come digitally, right?
Oh, yeah.
Okay. Just checking.
And Infinity Gauntlet and, all these things that go on sale 3 times a year.
Yeah. Well, they're so cheap.
What did you buy?
Let's see. What did I get? I did go through a good number of my... Well, no, it wasn't too crazy. I do a lot of my Blu-ray and video game purchasing on Black Friday. We talked about this on the podcast last night, on Geekbox last night. But I did pick up Doctor Strange, Black Panther, Infinity War... was there one other? Star Wars. I picked up the last 3 Star Wars movies. I never even saw Solo, so I'm excited to actually get a chance to watch that finally. A couple of the Disney ones that I had missed, like Bambi and Lion King, and a few others, ended up cheap on the Disney's movie club does some crazy sales a couple times a year for members. So I picked up a bunch of stuff there. Finally got the 4th DuckTales DVD set. Finally collected the seasons 3 and 4.
At some point, I need to look at what's actually in there, because I know most of what I remember from the show already got put out on DVD.
Yeah, this is season 3, and the super truncated season 4. There was only 6 episodes or something.
But so my memory of DuckTales is, of course, as a kid, loved DuckTales, and then occasionally they would do those Friday movies where they would show all the Gizmo Duck introduction, or I don't remember the name of the little caveman duck that got incorporated in.
Yeah.
And then I remember those characters would start showing up on the show after they would show those little movies on. I think it was Friday night or Sunday night. It was some sort of Disney movie thing in prime time, and I always kind of remember that as towards the end of the show. But that stuff was already in the DVDs I have, which means there's got to be another season or 2 worth of show that I'm not remembering.
Yeah, season 1, it's a lot like Batman the Animated Series. Season 1 is 60 episodes. Season 2 is 20. Season 3 is 15, and season 4 is 6. It's stupid. I don't know why they just add additional episodes to the run. They're not seasons the way we know television show seasons.
Well, I know some of the later stuff like Gargoyles and Darkwing Duck and stuff had the this is the weekday episodes that are shown normally, and then they would show new episodes on ABC or something on Saturday mornings.
Yeah, I'm not sure.
There's some weird weird magic they do sometimes in television.
Well, but, I know with Batman in the animated series, they ordered like 50 episodes or something. Then they're like, okay, we're gonna pick up another 12. Okay, we'll pick up another like 12, 18 or whatever. I mean, so they're not really seasons the way we know them for like a traditional live action show.
But I mean, even then, when they picked up additional episodes, like it went to again, it was like on Saturday morning they did like the Batman and Robin with the different opening and that kind of stuff, and then it went away until Superman the Animated Series, and then they did more additional, like, after that took off again. No, as I said, it's weird the way they do some of the television planning, and maybe that's where Cartoon Network figured out we need to rebrand and relaunch shows.
It's so annoying.
I wandered in at Target on Saturday and got a couple Blu-rays.
What'd you get?
I think the new Jumanji.
That's good. It's really funny.
Honey, I Shrunk the Kids on DVD for like $4.
Like old school?
Yeah.
That's great.
What else? I got that Wonder movie.
Oh, it does.
The one based on the novel with Julia Roberts.
Mm-hmm.
Ready Player One.
Why would you waste your money on that? Terrible.
The book was better, but I still like the movie.
Yeah, I read the book. I like the book. I haven't seen the movie, so it's better to get it cheap than full price.
That is true.
And then there was one other, but I don't remember what it was.
Yeah, I basically bounced back and forth on Wario64's Twitter account waiting for he's tech and game he posts all these crazy deals on Twitter because Best Buy, Walmart, Target, and Amazon, they basically would have like competing sales, and when like one would go up, all the others would go up like at the same time. So like if the Walmart one went up, suddenly those deals went live everywhere else, and they kind of were bouncing back and forth on what was available. So I definitely picked up a bunch of games.
Target didn't have Thor on sale. That was weird. Ragnarok.
I mean, I don't know that I saw Ragnarok on sale.
Ragnarok's
other than
at least yesterday, probably still today, was cheap on Walmart.
Okay. Yeah, I picked up Daredevil, Deadpool 2. So I get a couple other things. Okay, it's a couple of video games I wanted.
Speaking of Deadpool 2, Charlie, did you see that extended cut ever?
Oh, yeah.
And? I never got I remember, did you go at San Diego?
I was planning to try, but I didn't make it at San Diego. Right. But no, when the Blu-rays, etc. came out, I purchased it and made sure I watched it right away. And yeah, it's mainly what you'd think. There was one or two additional scenes and a lot of changing out of jokes. Like they put back a lot of the stuff in the ending credits that they had cut, like with the Hitler baby and that kind of stuff. It was good. I liked it. I'm super amused by the fact that we have Once Upon a Deadpool coming to theaters. That looks amazing.
That should be pretty funny. They've got to release that on. Release
I'm
that, right?
Sure, like they will get a
Blu-ray. I mean, yeah,
Blu-ray and stuff released. I mean,
it's so funny.
In general, they're very intelligently doing we can film a few additional scenes, put it back in theaters, and then sell a DVD again.
Right. Charlie, would you pick up Black Friday? Now, people don't know. I feel like we probably mention this every year, but Charlie is like the deal master. Okay, like this guy, unless you're paying him $10 to take something, he's not going to buy it. So he finds crazy deals all the time.
You know what? Besides that, I got to give Charlie the shout out. Besides what you just said, is that he can quote the retailer that has the best price, as he just did with Walmart and Thor Ragnarok.
Yeah.
You could have asked him that 5 days ago, where Ragnarok was cheapest that day. He would have had an answer.
There's a couple sites. I mean, with like Slick Deals, and I follow a bunch of them for like video games and things online because with comic books I don't have to worry about that. And Blu-rays, I mean, I know where they're going to be cheap. Usually, I kind of wait till Black Friday, but especially with a lot of times these game items will come for sale. The limited edition stuff will sell out very quickly. So I'm always paying attention to these sites to know when this stuff goes on sale. And I don't mean just like sale. I mean like on sale, like when they actually are released. So if you pay attention enough, but Charlie is he's a master.
The way I kind of handle a lot of this is, honestly, some of it is about going, okay, these items are most likely going to go on sale under typical sale stuff with Best Buy or Target or whatnot. But then, like a lot of times, Barnes & Noble will do something that won't get the same kind of publicity through. And like that's when I will buy a lot of the Doctor Who's and stuff would be because they haven't done it so far this year, but Barnes & Noble tends to have a 50% off BBC sale in December. So that's one of those things I'm currently waiting on. And like WB Shop used to have crazy sales that wouldn't get publicized a lot. And,
They still do.
Yeah.
Not as big, but they still have some good stuff on there.
But it is one of those things where I've gotten to know what sites will just tell me crazy deals under major retailers. And then there's certain retailers. I just know the patterns at this point. I know what they're likely to do and when they're likely to do it. And
well, and with Amazon or Best Buy, you could just load stuff on a wish list and just wait, and you just keep refreshing, keep checking. I know for the DC CW Blu-rays, I don't buy them when they come out. I throw them in my cart. It's not on Black Friday. Yeah. Usually it's like in the middle of the summer. The previous season will all drop to like $10.99 or $12.99 a season. I know they did that not with the most recent seasons that have been released, but the seasons prior during the summer, again, this year. So me and Toby picked up all, Legends and Supergirl and Flash and Arrow.
And even around this time of year, the Blu-rays of those, especially as they're putting them on sale on DVD and stuff.
The DVDs were ridiculously cheap, but the Blu-rays were not.
Typically, the Blu-rays will start showing up at crazy cheap too. It's a weird timing. This time of year, one of my more amusing things when it comes to stuff on sale right now is all these games go on sale on Black Friday, and a good portion of those will pop up again at the same price between now and the end of the year.
Yeah.
But Gamers Club doesn't work on Black Friday.
Yeah.
So there's stuff like I kind of want to get the Legendary Edition of Injustice 2, so I'm waiting for that price to pop up again on not Black Friday so I can buy it.
We've talked about Gamers Club on Geekbox a few times. It was Best Buy's 20% off like pre-orders and purchases of video games, and they axed it. And I don't know if you know that. So we're going way off into Geekbox territory here. But Charlie, I don't know if do you know the reason they axed that and they axed the Amazon 20% pre-order discount and everything? Apparently, it's Nintendo.
I had no clue.
Word is Nintendo did not want the heavy discounting of pre-ordered games, so they kind of forced Amazon into axing it and potentially Best Buy as well. And that Target, they were supposed to have like 30% off pre-orders. It never happened. Again, that's word that came down from Nintendo. So,
Target always had a weird one because what they would do is they'd say, pre-order this item and get this % discount off another item. So, because they've done this a number of times, it was like, pre-order this game and pick another game today and get it 30% off or 40% off or whatnot. Okay. So it was not so much about saving on the item you were currently purchasing, but it became a pretty good cycle of release day, this game comes out. I pre-order this game, pick up that game, because you have to put down $5 or whatnot on the pre-order. Yeah. But you save a lot more money on the game you're picking up at the time, and then you just keep that cycle going.
Yeah.
Best Buy still does the like $10
off some stuff. Yeah, the pre-order.
Yeah, but that's again more of a cashback thing. You're not saving money on that item, but you get a $10 off coupon on your next purchase. So if you, especially when Gamers Club was working right, you get that cycle going where you're like, okay, get $10 back on this one, put it towards the next one, get $10 back on that one, put it towards the next one.
You're basically getting like 50% off some of these games with that.
So before we end this segment of the shopping conspiracy, Charlie, what did you get on Black Friday?
Well, I actually comic book related. There was one thing I forgot. Best Buy also had like $3.99 Blu-rays for a bunch of the recent DC animated movies. So I picked up, because again, I do the same thing. I just wait till Black Friday. They're usually like $9.99. They were $3.99. So I picked up, every single one I didn't have. There's like 3 or 4 I missed from the last year or so.
Yeah, pretty much there was only 1 or 2 of them that they threw in the $7.99 category.
Yeah.
And like the Teen Titans Go movie was really cheap.
Yeah.
Stuff like that too. Yeah. But, so I did a few different things. I picked up not as many movies as I normally do. Like I picked up Ant-Man and Wasp and the first season of Legion, last season of X-Files.
Why?
Because I'm a completist. I have the rest of X-Files. How am I not going to get the
I didn't know Legion was actually on sale. I would have picked that up. $10 is super cheap. That's crazy cheap.
It might still be that price on Amazon as of the day we're recording this.
I'll go check.
Check right now.
I saw it today on Amazon for that price.
Because I've been checking. Because I don't know that I'll pick up Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D., but if I can
got to get Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D.,
If I can get...
Well, but... So this is my problem with Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D., and...
It was renewed for another season?
That's not even a problem for me. The problem is I don't want to buy something in physical media that I don't believe they are going to put out anymore in physical media.
Yeah.
Meaning, as far as I know, they only put out the first 2, maybe 3 seasons of Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D.
Oh, really?
And that's it.
Really?
Yeah. I don't think they put out anything beyond those early seasons. And those early seasons, in a lot of cases, were Amazon exclusive.
Really? I didn't know that.
Yeah. So... they never had a wide release past, I want to say, season 1. The subsequent releases were like Amazon exclusives, and that apparently dried up because they stopped doing it. So, of course, they're blowing out the stock and stuff of what they have currently. It doesn't really hurt to produce some more to put on sale again.
Yeah. I didn't realize that they were doing that.
But that's one of those things for me. Like, I'm not going to... There's 2 things that are driving me a little crazy when it comes to purchasing media at this point. If I'm going to have something in physical, I'm going to want all of it in sort of the same physical media, meaning there's a lot of shows that come out on DVD. Most of them I'm not going to buy on DVD. So sometimes I'll either buy them digitally where I can still get like HD, or I just wait till the show's done and they inevitably do the show's done. We'll just put out a complete Blu-ray box set now.
Yeah. But I don't see them doing that with Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D.
But like Teen Titans Go movie that was on sale.
Yeah, that was like $8 or something. Right?
Yeah, I could have bought it for $8 in Blu-ray, but what I ended up doing is I ended up spending $10 digitally to get the 4K. Not because I think 4K helps that movie at all, but I just felt like that's something I can be okay owning digitally, because at this point the rest of the show only gets very sporadic DVD releases. So at some point I will probably just buy the show digitally, because they put out the 1 season Blu-ray and they haven't done anything in over a year with any subsequent seasons.
Right.
So it's very likely I'm just going to be like, fine, I'll just do that one digitally.
Yeah.
I did buy a new receiver because my previous receiver died. I bought a new headset for work just because the headset I've been using was 4 or 5 years old now and I wanted to replace it. Nothing too crazy this year. Oh, I got a Roku just for the DC streaming service.
That's the only reason you're using it?
It was cheap, and yes, it's the only reason why I wanted a Roku, because I looked at the list of devices that it supported and went, I'm not going to buy an Apple TV. I'm not going to buy an Android TV. You know what? I've heard good things about Roku. It's...
Yeah, I have a Roku.
Pretty much any streaming service ends up on Roku, so...
I sometimes use it for Netflix, but mostly I use my Roku for Plex.
But so I broke down and basically bought a Roku, which was cheap, and it allowed me to sit down and catch up on 3 episodes of Titans.
Nice.
So,
nice.
Yeah, it was good.
Hold on, breaking news from Portland. Bryce bought a microphone for Black Friday.
He did. I was telling him for a while. I kept sending him links like, here's the phone you keep at, or here's the microphone you want to use. And then there was a really cheap, well, quote unquote, really cheap sale on Black Friday. So we did buy it. So Bryce apparently has notes for Brieflies. So he's going to start recording those soon, sending them down, and maybe we'll get them on the episode once or twice. So.
Folks, believe it when you hear it.
Yeah.
These words mean nothing.
We'll get that rush of listeners coming back, right?
We'll get them on that Patreon. So, yes, it was a Black Friday. I had some fun stuff to do. I spent a good part of my Thanksgiving weekend. Saw a couple movies. Saw a movie. I saw Ralph Breaks the Internet. That was pretty fun.
I saw that too.
That was good. But I got to play a bunch of Spider-Man. So for the PlayStation 4, Marvel's Spider-Man, and what a fun game. Again, I talked about this a lot in the Geekbox last night, but if you want to hear more about it, you can
feels like we're just
check over there. Well, tis the season.
For anyone who cares, the Spider-Man game is, or at least was on sale on the PSN store right now.
Oh, yeah. I know.
You could buy it digitally.
eBay had it for $39.99 on the Friday or Wednesday before.
I'm waiting for
so they basically have that price on the PlayStation Store right now, but they also have the deluxe edition or whatever for basically the flat $60.
Yeah.
So our outro is going to change.
To what?
Charlie's going to be doing a sales
updated
sale podcast.
Yes, Charlie briefly. Just going to be like this week's hot deals.
Well, you guys did miss me having to pull out my credit card to confirm the card on my phone for Amazon when I bought the Legion Blu-ray for $9.99 while Charlie was talking. So it is still up there. So fantastic. But that Spider-Man game, I mean, I'm sure everyone's played it already, but
I haven't.
It is awesome. Obviously continuity-wise, very different than Spider-Man. Mary Jane's a reporter for the Daily Bugle. Aunt May looks weird. She doesn't look like an Aunt May I would.
There's either old Aunt May or hot MILF Aunt May.
It was a weird look. Like, I would never have pegged this character as Aunt May. It just doesn't look.
Does she look hot?
No. I mean, no one in this game looks hot. They have weird face problems with this game, but that's a lot of modern games. I bet you about that quite a bit in the Geekbox last night, too.
Rehashed the Geekbox. What episode was it last night?
492. But
we're catching up.
It's good. It is a good game. I really, really enjoyed it.
I'm just going to wait for a Game of the Year edition because they have so much DLC.
Yeah. That'll come out soon. You didn't start playing it, Charlie?
No, I need to decide if I'm going to buy the digital while it's on sale or if I'm still holding out for Best Buy with Gamers Club that I can stack all the discounts and get it ridiculously cheap.
I'm sure it's coming. Well, we do have. I didn't have.
Great radio.
Yeah. I didn't have too much to say about Spider-Man. I'm still playing it, so once I kind of get to the end, I'm sure we'll talk about it more.
He'll come back to spoil it.
Yeah.
Yeah, we don't have not a ton of news this week, but there are a couple little things. And this actually something I know, Kevin, I think you wanted to mention briefly, maybe. Stephen Amell, star of the star of the hit CW show Arrow, met with a couple interesting people over the weekend. Now, this takes place at their was it Knocking Point, his winery, right? But he does post a picture just prior to the crossover, which happens in a couple of weeks, the big CW crossover between all the shows. That does have John Wesley Shipp in his 90s Flash costume. So they're clearly, at least allowing other TV show versions of these characters to show up. He posted I think it was on Twitter, a picture with Tom Welling and Michael Rosenbaum, who were Clark and Lex Luthor on Smallville. So I don't know if this may have nothing to do with this could just be something he's doing for Knocking Point. They could be coming to Heroes and Villains, which is the convention Stephen Amell kind of works with.
I will say he has done stuff with other celebrities through his Knocking Point wine line and that stuff. So,
but a lot of people are obviously hoping.
Oh, of course, it's
for the Smallville reunion on the crossover. Maybe just a quick cameo, something small. I would love to see them come to Heroes and Villains. Now. You're going to Heroes and Villains this year?
I am going with my Virgin Voyage.
Yes. Now, this is the first year I'm not going.
Right. So
you can report back.
I will give you a review, but I don't know. I'm just going because of the insane ticket deal that I got.
Yeah.
I don't really know anything about it it seems to me, and they have them everywhere, right? It's like Wizard World.
Yeah. It's a celebrity con run, well, not run, but at least partly run by Amell.
Yeah, and they work with he works with them in some capacity. It's Walker Stalker, which is a horror and science fiction convention, and then Heroes and Villains, which is a superhero. They're the same company. So now in San Jose, they're combining them to be one con, and I don't know if that's their plan going forward for all of these. But
especially the ones overseas have always been somewhat combined.
Okay. Yeah. Like 3/4 of the cast of Walking Dead is going to be here. Rose McIver from iZombie, a couple of the guys from Flash, obviously all the Arrow crew is going to be there. Tons of other. I mean, it's going to be a shitload of people there this year. I'm like, there's always been a couple people each year. I'm like, man, I want to start getting more of those autographs, but they They stack up.
That poster is very expensive right now.
That poster, they stack up very fast, and I don't quite feel like taking that poster down, and I haven't got enough of the Flash to... Although Tom Cavanaugh is going to be there, I'm kind of bummed that I'm not going to get his autograph on the Flash poster. But a lot of these guys come back multiple times. They've all done... Almost all of them have done multiple shows, so...
So now I didn't sign up for any celebrity autograph, anything.
Yeah.
I'm only going with the regular ticket, just walking in the door. So this is one of those conventions where I don't know whether to have $20 in my pocket, $100 in my pocket, or $2 in my pocket for a pretzel.
I'll tell you what. First of all, the pretzels are like $9.95.
You get a pretzel.
Yeah, I know.
Like
as soon as the words left my mouth, I realized what I was talking about.
Tell us where you find a $2 pretzel in downtown San Jose.
So
I was going to say off a card on the streets of New York.
So
that's not San Jose.
Yeah. Okay.
The regular ticket here is in Villains. If you want to do any of the, if you want to just do the dealer's room, you'll be out of there in half an hour. Now, that's not a bad thing. I'm just saying this is not a dealer's room convention. There is a dealer's room at Artist Alley, and Leanne made a bunch of money when she did these, right? So it's not like it's not worth going to. But if you're looking for comic books or toys, this is not your convention. Right. They do have a fair amount of artists. Artist Alley is decent. It's not huge, but it's decent. Again, if you really like fan art and you like that, and you like Artist Alley stuff, then I think it's worth going to, even if you ignore the celebrity stuff. But the celebrity stuff is the main reason you're there. If you want photo ops, you kind of have to prepay for them ahead of time. You can sometimes do stuff there, but they're usually either sold out or a lot of them are like, because they're very timed. They have like a very specific amount of time. It's not just like wander up and take a photo. It's this very like, because they're going from signing to the photo op to break to the photo op to signing. They have this rotation, and
they still have panels though.
And they have panels, right, that they kind of rotate in and out of. And I've never been to a Wizard World convention. I have heard nothing but horror stories about, especially the signing and the autographs. Of course, people have had problems. I have never experienced a problem in Heroes and Villains. I've never heard of anyone that's experienced problems. I'm sure there's problems, right? I'm sure stuff happens, but they have nailed the flow. As long as you're where you're supposed to be when you're supposed to be there, they have nailed the flow of the autographs and the signings, and they really do a fantastic job. Again, at least the ones I've been to. Now, I can't say maybe other cons aren't, maybe the other locations aren't run as well as San Jose, but if you want the photo ops, again, you've got to do that now. If you want the autographs, there's usually like 3 lines. There's like the platinum line, the gold line, and the schlub line, right? Now, if you're in the regular line, expect to wait, but you can still like, the guy's going to be back on break when? Okay, cool. You run up right when they open the thing, and you're the first 20 people in line, and it goes pretty quick, right? If you wander in for Stephen Amell, you're going to be there for 4 hours waiting for him because he's going to have to do his photo ops and kind of bob back and forth. But you can do a few things. But if you're not going to do any photo stuff, if you're not going to do any autographs, the autograph are cash only, like walk up cash only. The photo ops, maybe card. I don't know. I mean, online obviously. If you do it online, you do it with a card. When you're there, I don't know how that works. But the autographs are, I think every single one is cash only. So, except for Stephen Amell. Stephen Amell must be cash only too, because they don't do any pre-orders, like the prepayment for photo or for autographs, because you just have to get in line. So, yeah.
I don't know if any of the listeners have been to a Heroes and Villains in some other city and had a great
I know some of our people have. Yeah.
So I'm not paying for any autograph or any photo op.
Yeah.
I'm only going to say, now this is another convention I've been to.
Yeah.
So that's what I mean. If I'm in and out of the con, I paid $5 for a ticket. If I'm in and out of the whole con in an hour, I will say it was fine.
Yeah. And it tends to be very, I mean, the San Jose Convention Center is not that big, so you'll see all the celebrities there. And I know a few of them are only there on Saturday. I think Tom Cavanaugh and Stephen Amell, maybe someone else is only there on Saturday. No, maybe Tom Cavanaugh is there both days. But at least Stephen Amell, I think, is only there Saturday. So when he shows up, you'll see the big line. And it's not like they're hidden off in some other room. They're on the floor. Like, so even if you're like, hey, here's all the actors from the TV shows and movies and Walking Dead, you can like half the cast of the show. So yeah, it'd be pretty cool.
Review to come.
Yeah, excited. I'd like to hear what you think of the show. But yeah, go get an autograph or something like that. It'd be fun.
Oh well.
Bring
Are
some...
you hinting like a Tom Cavanaugh autograph?
No,
maybe on something that you own?
No.
He is so hinting at that.
I know.
It's just he's one of the bigger. Like I told myself if I would 100% go if Supergirl or Flash was there, just because those are going to Melissa Benoist or what's his face,
Grant Gustin.
Yeah, Grant Gustin, because those are going to be bigger.
She has to have done one at one point.
Not here.
Not here.
I think she has, but not here.
I know she did 1 year of like Emerald City, which was cool.
Yeah, and that would be my...
Grant doesn't like doing them.
Well, Stephen Amell was kind of my reasoning to bring the poster the first time, because I was like, and there's all the other people there, too. Yeah. It is cool. Like, I'd like to get some of them, but if you don't have the main guy, it's kind of like... And if I had a Legends poster, that'd be another story, because all the Legends people have kind of come through. Yeah.
So that's him saying if anybody has a Legends poster, 913 West El Camino,
we got
Sunnyvale, California.
Well, they better be listening to this in the next 3 days.
94087.
We got.
He'll use it another year.
I got Flash and Arrow promo posters, but they never sent us anything for Legends of Supergirl, which is disappointing. I would have loved that. I don't know if any of you read.
Comics? Yeah, we do.
Comic Book Resources, now known as CBR. It's pretty terrible these days. However, there is one outstanding part of CBR back when it was Comic Book Resources, and now under CBR, and that's Brian Cronin. I don't know if any of you are familiar with him. He does a number of different things, but for comic books, he writes Comic Book Legends Revealed. Those comic legends and movie legends.
There's fun things in that column.
It's super. I've been reading this for 20 years now or something, right? And basically, people write, and he's written a few books on these where he's taken all his famous works and his more famous legends and done some novels based on or some not novels, some books based on his findings. And so people basically come to him with questions about, hey, this is an urban legend, or how did this play out, or in the case of what I'm going to talk about, who was the first superhero created by Stan Lee, right?
I saw this headline.
Yeah.
And I saw that you put it on as a topip, so I didn't read the article.
Oh, okay. Okay, cool. So, because Stan Lee passed away, I thought this was a super famous or a super interesting topic, a conversation here, because it's a question I had no idea, right? So, someone came to him and they said, "What is the first character that Stan Lee created?" I mean, obviously he was working in comics before Fantastic Four and Spider-Man and all that. So,
D-Man, definitely D-Man.
He goes through a pretty big list of a lot of the timely stuff. There's a couple characters. There's a possibility that there's a character named the Destroyer, that this was in Mystic Comics, and he seems to think that there's a possibility that he may have worked on that character, but he's not 100% sure. To the best of his research, what he could find was the first character created by Stan Lee, or co-created by Stan Lee, right? Obviously worked with an artist. Happened in USA Comics #1. It was published, it beat Captain America Comics #5 to the press by 2 weeks in April of 1941. So very, very, Stan would have been fucking baby. It was Stan Lee and Charles Nicholas. The character was Jack Frost. And it's basically a icically looking man that comes out of the water in the the North Pole, right? And he's this like super kind of Iceman-ish character. Yeah. So if you want to,
nothing like that Jack Frost movie that's a piece of garbage.
No,
Michael
you mean
Keaton movie?
Yeah, that is a piece of garbage, unlike the horror movie, which we talked about on the Geek Box last night.
Oh God, how does that movie keep coming up?
We somehow spent like 20 minutes talking about Jack Frost and Police Academy.
On what show is this again?
The Geekbox at geekbox.net.
Okay.
Where you can also find the Comic Conspiracy podcast. So...
we need to start charging Scott for all this plugging.
Yeah, it's a story by Stan Lee, and there's no artist credit here that I could tell as far as I could tell. Stan Lee.
Is Stan in the credits, actually?
Jack Frost, story by Stan Lee. It's written right on the front of the right on the comic. Yeah.
Because I was always thinking that Stan Lee name came later, came like in the 50s.
I mean,
no, from what I understand, it started with sort of the stigma of he didn't want to tell people he was writing comics, so that would have been right at the beginning.
And yet, it's funny that the brother kept the Lieber name,
Stanley Lieber. Yeah.
Larry.
Yeah, Larry Lieber. Yeah. I think there's some random characters like Black Marvel. I'm trying to think what else. There was that.
Does he list all of them on that? Now I wish I had read it.
Yeah.
So what's the first character on there that you would say people would recognize?
Well, no. This is all like old timely. Yeah,
but I mean,
stuff.
Does it go?
Nothing. No.
Okay.
Yeah. I guess in one of the early comic book legend reveals, Justin Evans and Tom Brevoort did some work, and they don't believe Black Marvel was created by Stan Lee. Where is he? Jim Stranko, who did the Comics History series of books.
It was those two giant, which are amazing. If anybody's interested in the history of comics, those Steranko history books are must reads.
Yeah. Let's see. He did that's his first comic book story was in Captain America Comics #3, dated May 1941. Mr. Comics #5, which is the first appearance of Black Marvel, was March 1941. But they don't believe that he actually worked on that book. So they don't believe that Stan Lee actually worked on that. So it ended up being this Jack Frost character.
Way, because I did read the article, the sort of belief is that he came in and added a blurb to like the front page or something. So it's not like he created the character or anything. Yeah. He's not in there as like a writing credit or anything. But it seemed like because of the way they were publishing the books and stuff at the time, it would have been very easy for them to consult him to be like, what do you think should go on this front cover kind of thing?
So what was his first Marvel character?
Well, these would be Marvel characters. Yeah. This is what would become Marvel, right?
Yeah, but more modern, like Marvel as we understand it.
It would be Fantastic Four, right? I mean...
well, they've got those the monster comics, if you count those monsters in Tales to Astonish.
Did he actually, because Groot predates even, like a character like Groot predates the FF. And
those, and Stan's got credit on all those scripts.
Yeah. Did he
and there's also
the model?
There's also...
she's appeared in Marvel stuff.
The original Doctor Strange.
Yeah, the
evil guy from the, I want to say, like Amazing Fantasy or I mean, those all get mixed up in my head.
Yeah.
Strange Tales, Tales to Astonish. But yeah, Stan has writing credit on, I want to say, 80% of those monster books.
Yeah. He also created two other characters, Father Time and Headline Hunter, foreign correspondent. So...
Father Time.
Yeah. Wow. No relation to like Father Time and Uncle Sam should like have a crossover from DC. So interesting. I love this stuff. If you guys don't read, CBR is a fucking pile of garbage these days. However,
if you guys don't read,
if you don't read, the comics should be good. Comic Legends, this guy's work, Brian Cronin, definitely
anything that Ryan retweets that's from this website is okay.
I mean, sure. Well, I'm dunking on it a lot of times.
Start being the stuff, like. This one has a Ryan seal of approval.
This article or this
This is certified fresh from Ryan.
But he does a lot of movie legends, and he's done like sports stuff. So he's done not just comic books. He does a lot of other stuff for other sites. But he writes. Man, this dude's written a ton of stuff CBR through the years. So.
You can probably we can play an easy little fill in the blank game, and I don't think you're going to need more than one guess on this. Someone at DC said to me, quote, if you, and that not me personally, you as in just a general person, if you write for blank, nobody in the industry will trust you. What site do you think fills in that blank?
It has to be Bleeding Cool.
Correct.
Yeah. So, people hate. Yeah, they hate. I knew
you'd get one guess.
Yeah. People hate Bleeding Cool. Yeah.
Why do you think that is?
Because Rich Johnson's an asshole.
But somebody could be an asshole and run a quality site.
So the problem with Bleeding, again, I don't have the problem with Bleeding Cool because I'm not a publisher, right?
They quote you all the time.
I mean, it happens occasionally. He talks to people at bars at conventions when they're drunk, and they talk about a bunch of shit that they shouldn't talk about, and then he publishes it, right? And that's what happens. And there's 100% like...
I thought it was just because they had articles written by Jude Terror.
Well, no, that's why I hate them. No, but I know Marvel and DC have like... Oh, again, and here's the thing. They have like... Freelancers are not allowed to talk to Bleeding Cool. That said, I know for a fact that both DC and Marvel have leaked shit to Bleeding Cool themselves to be like... Hey, can you just put some feelers out on this and get this out here and let's see what happens, see how people respond to it. I've been told that they've done this, right? So, they hate them, but they use them when they need to, right? And he does. I mean, he digs up shit. He'll take a Twitter argument and just post it like it's a news story, right? Which can cause stuff to kind of be taken out of context or, maybe highlight something that should have been a more private conversation in some response thread that is now kind of put into the limelight. So
there are times that things that should be allowed to just fade and die get dragged back up. It's the nature of this kind of stuff.
Like those poison ivy people.
And I mean, if you're Dan Didio, every month he's tweeting about how the new rumor is Dan Didio is getting fired this month, except he's been there for like 20 years at this point. So like...
But it is a fact that Didio hates Nightwing and the Titans.
Oh, we have a question about that later. He absolutely hates the Teen Titans.
So wait, somebody's actually asking, do you think Didio hates Nightwing and the Titans?
Similar questions. Okay. Similar.
You don't really need to write into this podcast. Yeah. You can probably deduce that answer.
Yeah. Well, I think, were you on when I was talking about this a little while ago? We'll talk about it now. I always thought... of course he doesn't. He may kind of joke around about it, but he doesn't hate these characters. They make him money. He's not just gonna say like, I hate these characters. We're never gonna use them because I said so. Like, I don't think a lot of people in his position would do that. I now, however, do believe he actually does hate the Teen Titans and does exactly that. Just over the course of the last couple months. When you see the same pattern over and over and over again, and like the sidelining and just the pushing off of these characters, you're like, well, what is going on? This continuously is happening to the Teen Titans, and then there's a Jeff Johns that brings them back to prominence, and then they're just shoved back in a corner again. You're like, what is wrong? So I have to now believe that Dan Didio hates the Teen Titans.
I think he just really, really likes people who pitch stories that.
Well, we're in a dangerous point for DC because what's happening? Nightwing is not Nightwing. Wally and Arsenal are gone. The Titans are becoming something different. The Teen Titans, all the main Teen Titan characters are now off in other books, and the Teen Titans are like mostly random characters that nobody cares about. Aquaman is losing his memory with the new arc from Kelly Sue DeConnick. There was another one, too.
Man, when you hit your head on a coral reef, it really just knocks it out of you.
Obviously, Lois and John, the big change from Jonathan. And if you heard my talk last week, I'm calling it that's actually Superboy Prime, not Jonathan Kent.
Fuck them in the ass. They bring that shit character back.
Lois is back, but we're getting a lot of, status quo has been happening for too long. Time to change everything. And this is what's led to some of the poorer stories over DC the last decade.
Well, I think this is the problem is that the stuff that we've gotten from especially like Jonathan and Clark and Lois has been really, really solid, and people have really enjoyed it. And, Tomasi did a fantastic job with what he was working on.
I don't hate what Bendis has done with the characters. I'm fine with the little change, but I feel like they've time jumped the Jonathan coming back as a teenager.
They've time jumped without trying to call it a time jump. I think that's part of what drives. And I talked about this last time I was on the podcast. I don't feel like where Bendis picked up is where Tomasi left it.
Right. It's very different.
Like, it just feels like they kind of ignored most of what had been sort of built up and just went, we're going this direction now instead, which is very, very jarring because you don't have the stuff to support it very well.
Yeah.
But that nice omnibus comes out The Super Sons Omnibus comes out next week.
Yeah.
So your theory is Didio hates the Teen Titans. So if
the belief is he hates sidekicks, duplicate characters. So Red Hood is not Red Hood former Jason. Red Hood is now this totally other thing, right? Like in the recent comic. But again, it's been a couple years, so we got to change everything up. Red Hood and the Outlaws, no longer Red Hood and the Outlaws. It's now a totally different book.
It's Red Hood Outlaw.
Nightwing, gone. Wally, gone. Arsenal, gone. Right? And not the first time this has happened to these characters. He wanted to kill Nightwing back in Infinite Crisis and didn't. He basically disbands the Teen Titans, and they're mostly original characters. It's a little harder with Titans, but again, most of those are they've made Donna disconnected from Wonder Woman greatly. They've really done a job of instead of having the legacy and the family history that DC traditionally has that a lot of people like, we're pushing back to make those characters stand alone and not connected. And that's always they've tried this before and it never sticks. It never works. It always fails.
It's a weird cycle that DC goes through, and it's one of the things where I don't know if they've figured out something about this cycle that I haven't, because I kind of feel like what ends up happening is exactly what ended up happening with the New 52. People kind of wanted to check out what they were doing differently. It kind of ran a certain amount of its course, and then by the end, they're like, nope, we have to embrace what made all this great again.
Yep.
And then, so you have this focus on, okay, we have to bring sort of Green Arrow back to his roots, and we have to bring Batman and Nightwing and Green Lantern, and like everything kind of starts taking form of what was sort of considered the classic representation of these characters again. And then all of a sudden you have a shift like this again, where they're going away from the classic interpretations. And I don't know that I fully understand why they continue this cycle, because as you said, I kind of feel like most of the time when they change this stuff up, maybe if they're lucky, one of the things sticks.
Yeah.
But
usually none.
For the most part, what ends up happening is the stories go to shit, and then they have to do a big rebirth event or something to course correct and get things back to this sort of core foundational DC representation. And historically, some of the best stuff that's come out of DC is when they've done that, when they've like go back to like the Morrison JLA, the way they promoted that book and the way they got it in front of people is like, look, the Justice League you remember is back.
Right. And they after 10 years of a not traditional Justice League prior to that.
Well, I think you're saying Didio hates them is it's a fair observation, but could it be that Tom King doesn't like them, or Tom King is Dan Didio's weapon of destruction? Because the thing is like, Nightwing, with what's going on with Nightwing right now, it's a natural, like, it's not a natural progression in that, oh shoot, we have to change creative teams and all this stuff. Like, that was weird as shit.
Yeah,
but. Dick Grayson getting shot in the Batman book would have affected the Nightwing book that was going forward, because it's tied into the Bat family of books. But in that also, it affects the Titans book,
right?
Because
the cover of Titans this week is like a photo of all of them, and there's like a big X over Dick, Wally, and Roy, and there's a great addition to Titans this week, and I won't spoil for people that never read it, but I mean, it's in the solicitation decks and everything. But I'm okay with little changes here and there when they want to kind of refresh stuff. But again, we're seeing it happen to a lot of characters all at once, and this is exactly what happened at the end of New 52. This is exactly what happened into New 52. Like, they've got to stop doing this.
So
let some of these books stand on their own and be what they've been, because they've been really good. We've ended all the Green Lantern stuff. They did hard resets on both of the Titans titles. They did all the Justice League stuff got restarted. They're doing creative team shifts on Wonder Woman and Aquaman. Which is like all the Superman stuff. So what is it? Batman and Flash are the only two that haven't been touched.
So here's what I would like them to do with this kind of stuff, and this is where I kind of feel like they've been falling flat in a lot of ways. I don't mind shakeups. I don't mind the idea of we're going to mess with things as long as you have a plan to bring it back, kind of like the idea of Death of Superman is great, but as we've kind of talked about, when they killed Superman, it was not a Superman's gone and dead forever. When they did the sort of Superboy, Steel, Cyborg, and Eradicator, again, it's not like they went... It was great to get people sort of attention on the book and sort of hyped up, but it's not like they didn't have a plan to bring back the traditional Superman. When you had Nightfall and that stuff, yes, you had Bruce's back getting broken. You had a lot of comics dealing with sort of like this transitional period with Azrael acting as Batman, but you had a Night's End planned out to bring back Bruce to reclaim the mantle. Like, I don't think there's a problem with story arcs where Nightwing gets shot in the head. Now, mind you, that was very extreme.
Well,
but you need a plan for how does he recover from this? How do you get him back to
but that's the
Nightwing?
Thing is Percy was supposed to take over and every like
he was writing it. He was already writing it. If they had a plan, they wouldn't let go of the writer literally half an issue into his run of this story arc. Right? Then that's my fear with Nightwing is that.
And the thing is with Percy, his stuff on Green Arrow has been amazing.
Yeah,
so him transitioning over to Nightwing, I was like, oh, okay.
But even after he left, he had a really solid run on Green Arrow, and then after he left Green Arrow's just been like, and now we're just kind of random stories by random people. Even Julian, what's her name? I'm assuming they're sisters. Julian something Benson. They were the writers on the Birds of Prey book, and now they've taken over Green Arrow, and they're already off the book. They're like, we're leaving comic books to go back to work in Hollywood. Bye. So like they're already done. Like after just a couple issues. So something is happening.
Well, and a lot of stuff that's going on in Green Arrow is like affected by Heroes in Crisis, where Arsenal Roy is
that one issue.
But the thing is the ripples resonate throughout the rest of the story because this is the aftermath of what happened in that book, and so it's like, okay, so you're seeing all this stuff play out in the other titles.
Well, and what was the other big news from this week that we didn't talk about yet, and that's just a perfect time to talk about it: the canceled Batman and the Outsiders. The third issue is just solicited. Issue 1 was out in a couple weeks. They've canceled the book. And it's going to be resolicited, but we have a case again where something, like Justice League Odyssey, something in editorial was like, we can't do the way we're going to do it.
What's funny is
they're scrapping 2 full issues?
Well, the thing is, like, I follow Brian Hill on Twitter because he's the one that's writing it, and like he's been super stoked about it, and I'm like, okay, cool. But it's like,
he can't say anything about it. The only person that's talked about this at all is Steven Sedgwick, is that on Justice League Odyssey, because he's like, I'm just the artist, and they fucked me, and so I'm only doing 2 issues. I was supposed to do like 6. He's like, so whatever, I'm out. Like, burn that bridge, right? But all the writers have just been like, I can't say anything. We're not saying anything, and that's going to be super frustrating. Yeah. Again, he was probably 6 issues, maybe 7 issues into his run, writing wise, and they're like, nope, scrap the whole thing. And in Justice League Odyssey, there's nothing I read in that issue that like I don't know what could have possibly been in the first issue that maybe a character that someone else wanted to use, but like, so what? They're already working on it. Like, if your editorial is fucking up that bad, like, get rid of the editors. Let the character, if you're 2 issues in art-wise on the title, just let the book run. I mean, what are you going to do? Push the other thing back. It's really weird.
I don't like the sense of we're making big changes without plans of how we're going to resolve the changes.
Yeah.
Well, we had some of this stuff with the New 52, right, where, everyone was on board. It started, like, there was this good stuff, but then all of a sudden, you started to see the cracks, and editorial was causing all these issues, and they, sent Gail Simone packing.
Yeah.
Right?
And then brought her back.
And then brought her back. But it's like, DC always seems to have this, rotating problem of editors that seem to fuck everything up.
Well, and again, and I've spent a little bit of time talking to Dan Didio, and I've been to a number of his talks, and even Kevin, you talked to him briefly at Comic-Con. I mean,
running,
yes. Yeah. He is.
You stayed.
I've done some of the conference calls with him, and it's like trying to get a cat's attention, right? Yeah. And I think that's just part of his personality. But if you're the head of the company, And every day it's just a different. I'm going to change. Let's do this. Let's do this. Let's change. Like, that's not good for your creators. I like the guy. He has done really good stuff for DC. I don't want to say fire the guy immediately, but there has to be some. There has to be some buffer between him, editorial, and the creators that clearly like.
So, do you think some of this might? So, obviously, we had the big change with Jeff Johns changing positions, which moved Jim Lee into Jeff Johns' old position.
Yeah.
And as far as I understood it, Jim Lee was sort of the co-publisher with Didio.
Yeah.
Do you think Lee's had to sort of pull back on that responsibility, and maybe you don't have that counterbalance?
I don't know. It's possible. I mean, Lee, as far as we knew, he dealt mostly with the artists, and Didio dealt mostly with the writers. All right. I mean, and if you look at Didio's, his interest is squarely at like 70s Marvel, right? Like he wants to be in the bullpen, right? And I don't know that you can shift DC in that direction. Jim Lee, he was dealing with the artists, he was dealing with the specialty projects, he was dealing with overseas creators, he was dealing with a lot of the other kind of normal-ish DC products, where Didio was dealing with like the DC Universe stuff. So, but I don't see this happening with Vertigo or with Bendis's Critter, the Jinx World stuff. I don't see this happening with
Snyder and Tom King and Batman.
Well, not so much that. I just don't see it happening with any of the other stuff at DC. Not a lot of that is new. The problems with Young Animal were clearly, I mean, everything ran perfect except for Doom Patrol.
Well, the thing is the books didn't come with a strip of acid for you to take. Everything from Young Animal worked the way it was supposed to, except for Doom Patrol, and
which is of all the things that's the one that needed to work.
Yeah, and you can put all the blame on that on what's his name, because clearly that was on the writer. That was
Gerard.
Yeah, Gerard Way. Yeah, I mean clearly that's it. I don't think that's an editorial problem. I mean, I have to believe this is Didio's MO, is we got to shake it up, we got to shake it up. It's just like, man, you could leave some of this stuff alone.
Well, part of the thing. Oh, go ahead.
I kind of feel like for a while there, we've talked about this. For a while there, it felt like Jeff Johns was sort of a guiding hand over a lot of the stuff at DC, and then he had to kind of pull back, and now he's even more removed in a way, even though he's writing more.
Yeah.
I kind of feel like, especially when it comes to sort of shaking up and character designs and that kind of stuff, Jim Lee was very, very hands-on. Mm-hmm. And like they talked about, like when the New 52, like that he was working with various artists and sort of talking through. I'm sort of thinking that there's always been sort of this balance between I almost want to say different egos in the room of the way stuff should be handled.
Yeah.
Which I think can help when you have the right balance of you have this point of view and this point of view and this point of view. And there's always a struggle of we're going to go a little bit more in this direction right now with these books, but this person kind of claims these are my titles that I want to keep this way. These are the titles that are being shaken up, and these are the titles that really need a redesign of the look and feel and that kind of stuff. Assuming that balance has been disrupted, it might explain why more and more of these books are all starting to feel that sort of way again.
Yeah, I mean, this comes editorial where they're like, we're going to change this stuff up. This isn't every creator at the same time. I mean, creators have a certain amount of sway with what they want to do. I'm sure a guy like Scott Snyder is probably not like, I have to bend to the will of every editor. He probably is a little bit more in control of Justice League with how crazy that book has been. I'm assuming he had a sort of pitch for it that they're going along with. And Tom King with Batman, I'm sure is mostly him. I don't expect the wedding or the Dick Grayson stuff that would have been any different under anyone else. But it's all these other titles that happens to.
Well, it's
no.
Kevin, Kevin was going to say something.
I was going to say we're doing a lot of speculating.
Yeah.
But the frustrating thing is they have these creative retreats with editorial, with the talent.
Right.
And all of these things are mapped out, be it 6 months in advance, a year in advance, so everyone's in the room.
Right.
So if there's a case of, hey, this is what I'm going to do in Justice League Odyssey, and everybody hears it, then it's a little frustrating from the outside when suddenly, 2 issues in?
Yeah.
3?
Or Well, no. Odyssey and Outsiders were both canceled while they were working on it before they were published.
So what changed from everyone sitting down for a day-long or a weekend-long, as these things are, creative powwow, what changes?
Yeah.
And that's the frustrating thing from the outside is that you as a retailer are in an even different position than a fan.
Well, it really, it really makes me want to put the brakes on like the orders and not sure how to promote something, because if the book was that far off course, why'd you solicit it in the first place? And if it was that off, how do we know this is going to happen again? This has happened at Marvel and DC. This happened a handful of times. There was like a female Blade reboot a couple years ago. They got one issue listed. It never came out. It was canceled. It happens, right? 2 within a few months of each other. That's with big titles. This isn't some random little title that's going to sell 10,000 copies.
Well, the thing is like I think what you were saying before is that that constant like we got to shake it up. We got to shake it up. We got to shake it up. And the thing is with Snyder's Metal Run. Right, finishing up at the beginning of this year, that opened the door for the Justice League that we're getting, right? But Justice League was really not. I mean, that Priest run was
it was terrible.
So
horrid.
So for me, what it kind of comes down to is there are certain creators that basically have a cachet in the comic industry where I don't think editorial is even something they have to worry about. Like, obviously Jeff Johns is kind of in that camp. Snyder's definitely reached that camp with the success he's had with the books that he's done. King, again, great example of anybody who's bringing that much attention and that much sales reaches a point where he's just kind of left alone. And it's one of the things that I know I've talked a couple of times about, that like there are some creators you can almost track down to like the issue where editorial was kind of told to just leave them alone. Because it kind of feels like they go from being held back to just being able to go as crazy as they want. So I don't judge sort of the health of the overall books and stuff based on creators that I feel like have reached the point where if the creator has a problem, the editor is not the one with the power, because if an editor was pissing off Tom King, there's no doubt in my mind that you would either have Scott Snyder or Dan Didio on the phone with him pretty quickly to kind of talk through it. And that's not something that I would feel most creators would have. Like there's...
Well, it's the fallout that I was talking about, right? You know, you talk about Tom King. Oh, I got this Batman story. It's blah, blah, blah. He's running with it. Yeah, I want to shoot Nightwing in the head. So you have, like, you go to a retreat and you're talking about this stuff to somebody else. It's like, okay, well, what can we do? Like, because he's not over Nightwing. Like, his actions in Batman are affecting the actions in the Nightwing book. His actions in Heroes in Crisis are affecting Green Arrow, Titans, right? Like all of Flash, like all of these books are being affected.
Well, for Heroes in Crisis, as far what the 100% belief is that Dan Didio said, "Kill these characters. That's part of your story." This is all the. This is not from Tom King. Tom King had a very different story planned. Again, is this true? I don't know. This was going back to Bleeding Cool, right? This was the early conversation, was that Tom King had a very different story planned, and Dan Didio was like, "Cool, but you also got to kill all the Teen Titans as well."
Let me ask you as a fan. Well, Brock, you too. Well, Charlie's a fan. Let's say there was no Titans book right now at all.
Yeah.
Forget them being dead. Let's just say like the Legion.
Yeah.
If you were okay, you don't have to write it. I'm just saying you're voting for it. If we're starting a Titans book next month, #1, brand new book. Do you want Dick Grayson, Roy Harper, Wally West, Donna Troy as the team, or do you want Damian Wayne and fill in the other kids?
We
kind of talked about this last week.
Yeah, this is the conversation we had last week was
with Young Justice.
We had what is kind of our like best Teen Titans lineup, and that's where you break down to there's like the Titans, the original guys. There's the Teen Titans, like the new Teen Titans,
right?
And then there would be the new kids, right? Which we thought Young Justice is a better line for Damian and Jonathan and that, but, because they're using Young Justice.
Yeah.
The Bendis Young Justice comic is going to be Tim Drake, Impulse, and Superboy Connor, right?
Apparently, Young Justice is going to have Jonah Hex's daughter in it.
Yeah,
so I'm like, I might check that out.
She's from one of the newer books.
So as a seller, what would you get more mileage out of?
I mean, this is what we talked about last week. Personally, I like a Titans book with Nightwing, Donna Troy, Roy Harper, Aqualad, Arsenal, the old school guys, right? They're the adults now that have grown up.
You mean you forgot Wally?
Wally, right?
You doubled up on Arsenal.
That group, right? Mm-hmm. I like the Teen Titans to be
Beast Boy, Raven.
Right now, the problem is Nightwing, but I'm okay putting.
Drake.
No, because Tim Drake's going to go with the other character. So, but it could be kind of
what other characters? The Justice ones?
Well, I like the Teen Titans book because it was those characters and Damian. And Damian's a great foil for those like new Teen Titan characters. And then you have the other group. I mean, I don't care really how it matches up, but these are characters that are. Again, we go back to Justice League. If you have the Justice League with a bunch of nobodies, nobody really cares. No. You could do stuff with it. You could Justice League International and Justice League Europe, and you can have fun with it for a while. But the main book's eventually going to swing back to Superman, Batman, Wonder Woman. What's that?
The Generation Lost book.
Yeah. So with the current Teen Titans arc, there's no reason for it. All the characters that were there, I mean, I guess they went off to the different Justice League titles, like Ravens and what, like part of Justice League Dark, right?
Ravens and Titans.
Oh, no. Oh, sorry. Raven went to Titans. She left Teen Titans to go to Titans.
And Titans. So the current roster for Teen Titans is Damian, Wally West,
Walter West. Yeah.
I was like, what is that?
Yeah. Lobo's daughter.
Crush. You have Roundhouse.
Yeah, some bouncing boy reject. Jin. Yeah, a bunch of these new characters, and again, they're okay. But
then you get Green Arrow's sister.
Sure, but why? Yeah. Like I don't. Like they shook up. The Titans books are clearly part of the Justice League titles, and so the idea was to shake up all these books at the same point. But again, my question comes back to why? You have a bunch of characters that are in the Titans book. You have Bumblebee and. The other guy, I forget his name. Like they just kind of get dropped. Mm-hmm. They just sort of disappear from the titles. You have a bunch. You have characters in limbo now. And again, why? When you have books, it's not like these books. It's going to shoot through the moon sales wise. With this, it's like you can have new titles with these new characters that come in and keep the regular ones the way they've been, and you can have new story arcs and new creators and relaunch stuff, but. Yeah, I mean, I don't care if you get a little mix-up from time to time, but everything, all at once, all at the same time.
Well, Wally West came back with Johns' rebirth, and it was fantastic. Like people were super excited, they were super stoked.
But I'm not too mad about this. I may sound mad. I'm not, because like we said, I believe everyone comes back at the end of Years in Crisis. I don't believe any of this stuff is permanent. So
I'm just having a hard time believing that. Let me just throw out two names and substitute whatever other names you want. Jonathan Hickman and Phil Jimenez want to do Teen Titans. Yeah. The Didio was going to say, no thanks.
Yeah.
I don't like those characters.
Yeah.
What else you got?
Right.
I can't imagine that would be the conversation. I imagine the conversation would be, sure, who do you want on the team?
No, well, one of the biggest sellers during, was Jeff Johns' Teen Titans and Outsiders relaunches, right, with Judd Winnick. And that was under Didio's watch. And those are huge, huge books, right? But to go all the way back, and we'll get into this. We have a bunch of questions. But you do feel like it is these characters where this happens to, and they what they do? They cut off Arsenal's arm like before.
Oh yeah,
and they did that, right? And they
Wally West, since he's been back from Rebirth, like I said before, his life has been shit.
Yeah, he had like a heart attack.
He had like a heart attack, and like his life has been constant shit.
Yeah,
since he's come back. Like it's like, can we just? The toilet is above him at all times.
And so much with Wally, that plot's not over. They're not killing him until that Rebirth plot is actually paid out. I don't see 5 years goes by and the books are we're just telling normal stories. That rebirth plot is still lingering. And I don't know if the end of Doomsday Clock is where that wraps up. I don't know if that's a totally other book. I have no clue. I just don't...
Don't forget the 3 Jokers.
Well, that's totally separate. I just don't see this story being over. If it is, holy shit, what a slap in the face to not only Jeff Johns, but all the fans, right? If it's not, what's with this weird... left turn. I don't get it. I don't get what the plan is. And I'm going to keep reading. I like this stuff. I'm not burn DC to the ground, but it is...
No, Adam Glass's Teen Titans has been great.
It's fine.
I've been enjoying it.
It's fine. I don't hate it. I don't love it. I don't hate it. It's just another book, and I read it, and I'm like, cool. These characters will all be dead in 6 years, right?
They almost got crushed by the building in the last issue.
Oh, well, when they killed... freaking Bouncing Boy, I was like, thank God, let's move on. Oh, he's back. Oh, wonderful. Great.
Are you talking about the actual Bouncing Boy?
No, this is Bouncing Boy.
I was going to say, that's heresy from you.
He's like half Bouncing Boy, half Gold Balls. And yeah, it's terrible. He's basically DC's Gold Balls, okay? And I'm like, what the hell is this fucking scrub? What is this Mort doing in this book? Get this guy out of here. Let's get any other character
And
in
they
this
got
book.
him out in such a great way.
Yeah,
he went out a hero.
They shot him into the sun.
Glory. It was amazing. And then he comes back in the book. Oh yeah, I've just been chilling at my mom's house.
Yeah.
I fell. I came back.
It's just like, who the fuck? What are you doing with these guys? It makes no sense. I don't get it.
Well, we have to shake things up with Suicide Squad because
okay,
we're up at 50 issues and now we have to go to
now look.
one.
Suicide Squad has had 50 issues. Who the hell's writing on that one? I'm blanking on the guy's name.
I don't even
He's
know.
done them all. He's fine. He's a fun writer. I just saw him in the book in front of me. I forget the guy's name. It's fine. But here's the problem with Suicide Squad. It hasn't been Suicide Squad. None of these Suicide Squad books since they launched in New 52 have been Suicide Squad. Brian Azzarello, if this is true, if it's really Brian Azzarello taking over, he can do a real Suicide Squad.
Mm-hmm.
Dark, espionage, not fighting, not in space, not on the moon, not fighting monsters, just dark superhero. What the Suicide
level.
Squad shit is. Yes.
Winter Soldier.
And Azzarello is the perfect guy for that. Again, I'm okay with this modern take on the Suicide Squad, but Azzarello could absolutely... I'm not going to complain about Liam Sharp and Grant Morrison taking over the Green Lantern titles, but I do like my DC Universe Green Lantern, where they're dealing with the core and they're dealing with all the other characters and the villains in the DC Universe. That's a fantastic first issue, but it's very much its own thing that's totally disconnected from anything that's happened before. Who the hell is this girl he's hanging out with? When the hell did New Oa happen? It just happens in the last page of the book. They're like, oh, by the way, we have New Oa. Okay, bye, book's canceled. It's sort of this weirdly forced,
Wait, Grant Morrison wants to write Green Lantern? We have to finish this.
Well, that's exactly what happened. They're like, well, you're just gonna what has to happen? Okay, you have 2 issues to do it. All right, well, I guess they make a New Oa. Cool. All right, that's fine. But we don't see it. It just happened. And I'm not talking shit about Morrison's Justice League or Green Lantern. It is a great first issue, but it's this other thing. It's not.
Well, I'm excited for that because that's the Green Lantern I grew up with, which was the occasional core guest star.
Yeah.
But mostly it was a Hal Jordan solo book.
But you can...
Unless he's with Green Arrow.
But I want the Green Lantern core title to also exist for everything
as
else.
A separate book,
as a separate book.
Yeah,
right,
absolutely.
Right.
I'm just like the Morrison approach because I got core overload under Johns.
Yeah.
So
that's just my taste.
Yeah.
I don't disagree with the fact that it's good that Morrison is writing a Green Lantern book. But I will say this, just from my own level of frustration, as you said, what happened is Morrison decided, I want to write Green Lantern.
Yeah.
And they gave him Green Lantern, which meant everything that was currently happening in the Green Lantern book that was solid. I don't know how it was selling, but I don't get the impression it was selling badly.
Well, this is also the problem. You go from 2 twice shipping books to 2 twice shipping books to 1 once shipping book. We will sell, I guess, maybe equivalent because we're obviously going to sell more of the Grant Morrison run, but That's a lot of Green Lantern that we're not getting. Now, are they opening up those 3 extra publishing spots? Well, not for Batman and the Outsiders. I mean, fuck, are we getting more Silencer? Like, what are they going to do with those publishing spots? Or if they've already been taken up by other stuff? Like,
I guess what I'm saying is there were certain things that were working.
Yeah.
And working well within the DC books as they were being published. We talked about how much I liked the Superman title and that kind of stuff. And it kind of feels like a lot of these books kind of, I don't want to say suffered, but abruptly changed because
Green Lantern, like I said, they finished up their story and the Guardians come down and they're like, by the way, we're back and there's new goodbye, final issue, go off into the sunset. What's her name?
Jessica Cruz.
Jessica Cruz is just like, I have to go. My planet, I have to go back to my home planet. Woo! And she just disappears. And you're like, well, I'll never see you again. Like, it is weird.
And as I said, it's one of those things where I would have rather seen them shift things over to, say, give...
And she is a Justice League Odyssey. Or, sorry,
if the totally current creative team was just moved over to the Green Lantern core book to sort of keep going with what they were doing. But it's this sort of shift from Bendis gets Superman and gets all these Superman books, and eventually, obviously, we got Super Sons back and such in...
Well, that's just an Axie series.
Yeah. In sort of like a separate series, though, because we gave Bendis Superman. At least that's how it kind of feels to me. And
what's funny is it's like we had...
And I don't know. I kind of... When Johns took Green Lantern, it's because the Green Lantern book wasn't selling well and wasn't working. Johns on Flash revitalized it when it wasn't selling well, wasn't working. He revitalized Teen Titans. They weren't giving Johns all these titles that were currently working and saying, we need you to inject new life into... Like, we're, quote-unquote, injecting new life into books that already had plenty of life in them.
It comes back to what you said. It's DC has a cycle problem where something's not broke, and they go, shit, we got to fix it. And when something's broke, they go, let's keep going with this shit.
Out of nowhere, they bring back fucking Sodom Yat, one of my absolute favorite Green Lanterns, the Daxamite Green Lantern. Just out of nowhere, they're like, oh yeah, by the way, Cyborg Superman, we have a Superman too. Here's Sodom Yat. He beats the fuck out of you. The issue's over. Sodom Yat's been gone like since New 52. Where the hell has he been? He's back. And now he's gone. We'll never see him again. I love Sodom Yat. Where is he going to be? That one of the missing Green Lantern books would be a Sodom Yat miniseries. I want to see more fucking Sodom Yat. I love him. Like, where the hell has he been?
Well, quotes that have maybe never been uttered.
Oh, he's great.
I'm not disagreeing. I'm saying like the passionate fandom for that one Green Lantern out of all of them.
Although we do have hope because Brian Michael Bendis apparently had to add Aricia to his word processing dictionary. So there's hope. There's hope.
Was that Green Lantern a question?
No.
Oh.
No.
We're just having fun.
We just meandered off.
I was trying to follow the breadcrumb how we got to Green Lantern.
We have a question.
That's where you made the mistake.
This whole show has not really been on.
We have a question.
Do you mean this episode or this whole show?
This whole show.
Okay.
We have a question from Ulysses. He says, are you guys ready for Batman Damned Issue 2? It's the best book of 2017 and 2018. I'm assuming he means 2018 and 2019 because I don't think number 1 came out that long ago. If you could pick up if you could have only 3 books for the rest of your life, what would they be? Wait. Mine is Kingdom Come, Batman War on Crime, which is that the Alex Ross one?
Yes.
Is that what that's called?
The Paul Dini one.
Yeah. And then Justice by Alex Ross.
That's a good list.
Three collected editions.
Yeah, if you could have 3 if you have 3 graphic novels.
I will go with All-Star Superman.
Yeah.
The Golden Age by James Robinson and Paul Smith. And I will grab a random, because I won't really care. I'll close my eyes and grab one of the collected Jaime Hernandez Love and Rockets books.
It wouldn't matter what you grab because, they all just kind of stand alone. Yeah.
Those would be my 3.
Because All-Star Superman is definitely one for me.
And if I could be like Bryson, I'll add 3 honorable mentions. But no, I would say the New Frontier would be the honorable mention.
Yeah.
If I, for some reason, couldn't find one of those other 3.
The problem with so many books is that they're going to be like, I want Sandman. That's 10 books. Like that doesn't count, right?
Yep.
I mean, it definitely also Superman. God, I may throw Infinity Gauntlet on there. It's just such a fun book. I just love it. I got to have some Marvel in there. And then I'll throw Johnny the Homicidal Maniac in for Independent. That'll be my third. Still one of my favorite indie books of all time. Great read. So funny. Nothing past it. Nothing before it. Just one book. You ever read that?
I have looked at it, but I haven't actually read it.
It's really funny. Yeah.
So it definitely starts with Kingdom Come. That's a no-brainer. Probably the Tick Complete Edland.
Oh, yeah. Yeah, that's a good one.
Just because that would be sort of one of those things, again, I would absolutely need with me. I'm leaning towards Superman Secret Origin, but it's hard for me to be like, what John's book would I choose? Because I'm also not going to be like, I want John's complete Green. No, it would have to be like a single volume or
Jeff Johns' Green Lantern Omnibus volumes 1, 2, and 3. There you go. Right.
I just glued them together. I guess for me, I'd have to put Tom King's Vision.
Yeah.
On there. I have to go with Day Tripper. That book is just so good. Yeah, but again, you fall into the trap of, well, all the Preacher's good. All of this is good.
Yeah, well, that's why I was sort of thinking, if like John's Green Lantern Run as an example, like I could see being like, well, maybe Blackest Night, maybe Sinestro Corps War. Like I could see being able to pick up a single volume to take with me, but I'd have a really hard time picking. That's kind of why I was leaning a little bit towards the Superman Secret Origin, because I really like that story. I really like the art in that book, especially with sort of the way Christopher Reeve kind of leaps off the page in the Gary Frank art and stuff.
I'll just have to go to Batman Hush.
Yeah.
It's a good one.
You know, I was thinking of this question in a very narrow way of thinking like a book that collects where the whole story's in one book.
Yeah.
So I was thinking limited series and things like that.
Yeah.
I would probably grab the first Stan Lee Jack Kirby FF Omnibus as one of the books because I'd get 50 issues for my money.
Yeah,
you know what I mean?
Sure.
If we're stuck for the rest of our life, take the 3 thickest books you can find.
Jeff Johns' Green Lantern Omnibus volumes 1, 2, and 3. There you go. This is from Cab Comics. They ask how much interest do your customers have in the new Conan series coming out next year. I submitted to all our guys that got the Dark Horse stuff. No one said no, so at least 10.
The Conan guys like it.
Yeah. We got a couple of pickups random. I think Conan will do okay for Marvel. I don't know long term.
Well, isn't there 3 titles coming out?
I mean, one is at least twice a month to start, and there's they're going to launch immediately into Conan the Barbarian, and then like King Conan or one of the other ones. There's going to be a second book, like a companion book, at the same time, basically, which is really stupid. Good old Marvel. So I have a Conan book every week.
Your prayers have been answered.
But, you know, I there was a ton of hype for Kurt Busiek's Conan book when it started, and that just meandered after the first year or so. And much like Star Wars, we have a, small but loyal group of people that get the Star Wars books, and it sells well. I mean, the main Star Wars book is definitely, and Vader are both in the middle to upper part of our Marvel sales.
I always find it semi-amusing when any of our Star Wars people come in, because I always feel like their box isn't that old. There's just so many titles that come out that it's always a decent-sized stack.
Yeah, but the tie-in specials are all but sub-only at this point for Star Wars, and Conan will do similar. I mean,
Jason Aaron will pull some people in.
Yeah, but Jason Aaron's Avengers is going to sell more than Jason Aaron's Conan. I just think long-term, there's very little reason to keep him on Conan.
Well, who knows with all that numbering that's going to go on?
With what?
Who knows with all that Avengers numbering that's going to happen?
Well, I mean, people still buy it.
I don't know.
Well, he's not right. He's not writing those issues.
I mean, my expectation is he will be on it for the first arc at least, maybe the first 12 issues, and then you'll see him
It'll be Jason
move somewhere else.
Yeah.
Oh, no, I could see them giving Zub
it.
Yes. Well, I mean, Zub basically...
Isn't he doing the new Red Sonja book? Someone's doing the new Red Sonja series.
I don't know if he's... I know he co-wrote the Conan Red Sonja book with Gail Simone for a while.
I don't remember who's doing the new title. I'll have to look it up.
But I just know he has some experience with Conan before, and it would be a very easy transition since he's doing regular work for Marvel at this point.
I wonder if the license was going to lapse.
That's why Marvel picked it up. Which is so weird that Marvel got it from Dark Horse. I don't get that. Jay Luthi asks, I haven't read comics in a while, and I'm about to start winter break from college. Looking for a fun/easy series I can pick up. There'll be a nice companion on my break. We just talked about some good kind of standalone single volume collections that we all like, kind of our Desert Island books. What are some fun or easy series recently that it doesn't even have to be recent, do you guys may recommend?
I don't know whether he's asking for something that's a book he can grab or wants to grab issues. He didn't. I don't think he specified. So
I mean, it's a series. I'm assuming that's going to be.
This is always a hard question to answer because I have to have some basis of what his tastes are.
Yeah.
I mean, if you're a Spider-Man fan, you could jump into the new Spider-Man book pretty easily. If you want something a little more sort of single volume collection, I might suggest picking up Superior Spider-Man or Spider-Verse or something like that. That has nice collections. If you
Superior Foes.
Again, it's one of those things that depends on kind of what you're looking for. We've talked at length about Batman Hush. We've talked at length about the Tom King Batman or the Snyder Batman. I'm happy to advise, but I could take up the entire podcast just being like, if you're into this, get this. If you're into this, get this. If you're into this,
so we're going to be announcing a third.
Plus, you don't know if he likes superheroes, if he likes Marvel or DC. Or
I would eventually get into the. Yeah. If you like noir, go for this way. If you like detective, it just. Yeah, I could go on
the next
this
podcast
forever.
from Charlie. If you like this,
well, here's Here's a good question that kind of dovetails back on what we were talking about. This is from Generic Protagonist on Twitter. He says, "Is it me or did multiple DC storylines change just for Bendis? First was Superman, which had Tomasi, and very suddenly with the final issue about how bittersweet it was, and then Teen Titans also changed suddenly, and I'm thinking it so it wouldn't compete with Young Justice." And yeah, I mean, I think what we were talking about earlier, I think that's definitely part of it, which is, difficult. I like the books that have taken over, but I also like the books that they replaced. I kind of wish we could do both. It's probably not possible, but I do wish some of these guys got maybe a little longer time to run their stories out. DC does seem to just flip. I mean,
it's not broken. We got to fix it.
You could have had Tomasi on Superman and
Bendis on Action.
Or you could have Tomasi on Superman and Jurgens on Action and Bendis on a Superman-Batman team-up book. Right? You could have put Bendis on anything, and it would have sold. Sure, you could have just had Man of Steel with Bendis. You
could have brought back DC Comics Presents.
You could have done anything.
Superman and blank, and Bendis can write a different character every month.
Right, you could have done anything with Bendis. I mean, again, the rumors were he basically said, I'll come for Superman. So maybe that does mean he wants to write Action Comics. And so, okay, fine. But you still have Superman. And then you can just put Tomasi on Man of Steel. I mean, you could always just go and just move that over, right? I mean, just take Patrick Gleason and Tomasi, shift them right over.
I think the thing is, especially with Superman, is that with Rebirth, the Action Comics and Superman after Rebirth were the strongest they'd ever been in a long time.
They were some of my favorite books.
Jurgens was just knocking it out of the park with his action books because I mean that's what it was. It was just action, flat out. These are Superman stories.
Well, to me it was even just a return to I considered Action more of a we're going to bring in a lot of elements of the past, and I mean their first story arc was all about look at all these people who were around during the Death of Superman and Reign of the Superman and that kind of stuff. I loved that stuff. I loved everything they were doing in that book from that perspective of these threads and stuff from classic Superman stories that I love. But then you had the Superman book that was more about the new Superman family and sort of doing that. They all had their own sort of feel and look and tone to the story they were telling, but they
played
worked
well off of each other, because like Jurgens would talk to Tomasi and Tomasi would talk to Jurgens, and so you would kind of get little hints of like continuity and like time crossing, like, okay, this happened here and this happened here, and so it's, but you know, with Bendis coming in and kind of, nope, I'm on Action, I'm on Superman, it's like,
and they've been Action. I tweeted this over the weekend. Action 1004. For people that think Bendis doesn't get Superman, Action 1004 was a fucking awesome issue. It's an issue where like Lois kind of comes back.
Yeah,
that was a awesome issue. So I'm not saying I don't want him on these books. I kind of wish we had both, right?
Yeah, I don't understand why it has to be all one way.
Yeah.
Well, the thing is like we're getting kind of this Bendis book from Action, right? This all-encompassing Superman book from Action. But then when we get to Superman, it just feels like a continuation of part of something that was in Man of Steel, and this big all-encompassing thing with what the fuck is the new villain's name?
Rogar Zor.
Yeah, to me it's like
he's fine.
He's fine, but it's like
they're doing more with him in Supergirl than they are in Superman at this point.
No, they're doing. He's in Superman more than Supergirl. Just has his axe.
Supergirl's like hunting and trying to figure out what the hell was going on. He's in Superman kinda, but like when they're off in their
it's the Phantom Zone.
They're in the Phantom Zone, right?
But I mean,
Zor is more in Superman than he is in Supergirl. Supergirl, she has his axe, and she's
doing more.
She's doing more because she's going and trying to track down what his backstory is, and that's been fantastic since Andrenko took over.
Been great, yeah.
Like it's phenomenal.
Yeah. But we got a bunch more questions. Let's get to a few more of these. Lewis says, "Are oversized $8 issue number ones the way of the future, or just a thing for the A-list titles?" Lewis, give it time, man. $7.99 will be the price of every single issue comic on the wall. It's going to be
here.
Going to be there sooner than later. Sooner than later. No, this is purely for Uncanny issues 1, 2, and 3, really. But Uncanny issue number 1. Oh, and Uncanny issue number like 11 or 12 is also going to be $7.99. I don't know why. No, that is not going to be common no time soon. This is just and Marvel will be kind of testing the waters here a little bit. You've got $9.99 issues of Amazing Spider-Man and Deadpool that were like kind of anniversary issues. So Marvel's not afraid of doing these big, crazy, oversized issues, but it is fairly limited.
Fairly.
$5.99 issue number ones. Get ready for a lot more of those. So that's for sure.
My issue with the $7.99 comics, and this is just the way they've always felt to me, is I feel like I get the issue I paid for and then another issue that I didn't really need.
Yeah. Yep.
Except for that Tom King Swamp Thing.
Had that content.
But that's different.
That was really good.
And that's prestige format. Yeah. Action 1000, prestige format. That's fine, right? All those DC summer special, the nuclear winter one, right? I mean, $9.99, but it's 80 pages. It's a small graphic novel. It's an anthology. Yeah. It's that's fine. I'm not ordering a lot, but they sell okay, right? I sell a handful of copies, but I don't want issue number 1 of the new Justice League title to be $8.99 or whatever.
See, I don't. Okay, this is the reason why I kind of phrased it the way I did. When we've had there was, I want to say the Amazing Spider-Man 700 was all slot story.
It was basically like 4 issues.
Yeah, it was just a large single collection. Basically, it was multiple issues of slot story all in one issue. And I have no problem with that.
Yeah, that's fine.
My problem is we're going to Uncanny is a good example of this. I got to the end of the issue of Uncanny I wanted to read, which was about the halfway point.
Yeah.
And I didn't even bother reading the second half of the book.
Yeah. I don't think you missed much.
Yeah. That's where I kind of go, this is really annoying because you basically want people to pay for a second issue they don't want.
Yeah.
We can lightning round these questions.
Yeah.
1-sentence answers.
Peter wants to know.
You're limiting me today, Kevin.
Peter wants to know, why do good people like bad movies? I don't know why Bryce likes Marvel movies over DC movies. I have no idea. That's just the type of person he is.
Next question.
You'd have to imagine somebody walking out of the Green Lantern movie and going like, that was fucking good.
I mean, you were standing next to me, right?
Idiot.
I mean,
I was not.
That person.
I like that. I was like, that was great. And everyone around me was like, what are you talking about? That was terrible.
I know I wasn't standing next to you because you were probably there opening day, and that took me.
We were there like at the preview.
Yeah, that took me weeks to work up to be able to go in and sit and watch that.
At the end of Justice
Did you actually
League,
walk up to the theater and just stand in front?
big smile on my face. At the end of Suicide Squad, everyone turns to me and I'm like, that was good. And everyone's like, what's wrong with you? And I'm like, I still liked it. It's good. Shut up. And then I come to record this podcast and yell at you assholes all night. Kevin says, favorite episode of Batman the Animated Series? I'm going to go with Almost Got Him. Heart of Fear and the one with Harley Quinn and Poison Ivy where I forget what it's called, where they go and fuck around town all day.
Oh, yeah. The Holiday or something?
I can't remember what it's called. But Heart of Fear is.
I don't even know.
Did I say Heart of Fear? Heart of Ice. Sorry. Heart of Ice.
Yeah.
Incredible episode. But the Harley Poison Ivy one's top tier one.
That's like a great Looney Tunes episode.
Where they're in the car, all the guys are hitting on him.
Yeah.
She pulls out the bazooka and blows up. That's one of my favorite scenes in all of Batman the Animated Series. Yeah,
Demon Quest.
Yeah, it's good.
Yeah.
I've seen episodes. I just don't remember names.
The one with the fat guy that always eats the turkey legs that locks him in a cage. No, I'm sorry. That's the worst episode of Batman the Animated Series. I hate that episode. Did we talk about this? I hate that fucking episode.
I'm going to go with...
so bad.
I played the Batman the Animated Series board game that I bought from here recently.
Nice.
It was
Cool.
good.
Nice.
I liked it.
Yeah. That's
just
for
sentimental value, I'm going to go with Moon of the Wolf.
No, it was IDW.
No. Oh, that's right. That's right. Which one?
Moon of the Wolf, just because that was my favorite Batman comic as a kid. It's the one where he's chained, and it's the construction site and the werewolf.
Yeah.
And Batman's chained to the ground.
Yes, it's the one where Batman gets to punch a werewolf.
Yeah.
I don't remember.
I'm not going to say that's the best episode, but the question was favorite, right?
I don't remember that at all.
So that was a Len Wein, Neil Adams comic that they adapted for the series.
I don't remember that episode.
It's the one where Batman fights a werewolf.
It was the weird, like, steroids that they were using to turn the guy into a werewolf.
No.
You know what this means, right? He has to go rewatch the entire thing.
Drawing a blank. I did not remember that episode at all.
On his DC
Although, I will say that I really, really... Is it season 3 or 4 where they did the redesigns? See, you know what? I thought the
redesigns.
It's not even the redesigns. I thought the animation was so much better at that point than like season 1.
Oh, and the Two-Face two-parter too. Oh, the Two-Face two-parter, so good. I don't like the redesigns. Joker's terrible. Catwoman's terrible.
I'm not arguing for the redesigns. I'm arguing for I love this. It looked more anime, and it was really appealing to me visually.
I don't hate it. It's a weird line.
The only one that was better was Scarecrow.
It's a weird line between the original design and the Justice League. Justice League Unlimited, Justice League, perfect. Batman the Animated Series, perfect. That, I don't like those. I don't like any of those. I don't like their new Robin costume at all. Sorry, Kevin. I don't like
it's
Atomic General says, I ordered the Colossal King Conan Omnibus from Dark Horse. Am I in for a treat or a colossal disappointment? Did you pick that one up, Charlie?
Yeah, I picked it up.
Oh, is it? Have you flipped through it yet?
I haven't. It's sitting on my desk. The one that I'm regretting is they put out a colossal one right before that one of the Chimerian.
Yeah.
I didn't order that one, and I'm thinking I probably should have.
Yeah. Norman asks, and I don't understand a single thing he says in this, so I'm just going to read it as is. I'm assuming it's something I should know, but I've never seen. I'm going to take a guess.
Moon of the Wolf?
I think I know what it is, but I don't actually know, so I'm just going to say it. Norman says, assuming Brock Sager is the Dwight Schrute to Ryan's Michael Scott, does that make Scott Shea more the Jim Halpert or Andy Nard Dog Bernard of the podcast?
Oh, Scott is Andy.
I'm assuming this
Scott
is The Office?
Andy. Come on. Yeah, The Office.
Scott is Andy.
I'm assuming this is The Office?
Yeah.
Okay, I've never seen The Office.
Okay.
Yes.
I don't know who these characters are. Who is Michael Scott?
The boss of The Office.
Nice. Is that
Steve Carell.
Steve Carell? Yeah.
You're
okay.
Dwight.
Who's Dwight?
Dwight is Rainn Wilson is the actor. Dwight's the tall guy with the glasses and his hair parted down the middle, and he's basically Michael's right hand.
I've seen all the pictures.
Yeah,
I post the animated GIFs. I just never seen the show.
Yeah.
Who's Andy? Bernard.
Andy's a character who came in a couple, 2 or 3 seasons in.
Yeah, basically they half spun Jim off into like another office, and then he came back with.
Yeah, they merged 2 branches together, so to fold in new characters into the office. So Andy's like the frat boy who never grew up.
Yeah,
isn't that Bryce?
Scott and Bryce could both be Andy. Oh, okay. Yeah, but he only asked about Scott.
Yeah.
We answered this question already, but here's a question from Gilbert. Thoughts on DC killing every OG Titan? So there you go. We talked about that at length. You go back a half.
Your question got the bonus answer.
Go back an
hour. That's okay. I'm hoping that all my bitching about them not having a plan will turn out to be wrong, and it will be amazing.
No, we've actually talked about this, and the rumor is Avengers 4 trailer drops tomorrow. That's been a rumor for a couple days now. It's
going to drop on Black Friday.
Yeah.
Don't do a trailer.
Jimmy, so what's your dream scenario for the Avengers 4 trailer? A Wolverine schnicked, a Stan Lee cameo, a Deadpool guest appearance? Well, you're not going to get any of that in the trailer. I think all of us agree the trailer should be literally footage from the old movies, and then it just says Avengers The End. May 2019, that is it. We will show you nothing.
Yep.
I don't want to see... and I did this with Star Wars. I watched the very first trailer for Force Awakens and went, cool, I'm in. And I didn't watch anything else. I kind of given up on that in more recent years. Avengers 4?
Do you think you can watch nothing? Nothing.
I will watch the first... I will watch the very first thing they put out, and then
trailer.
No,
just the teaser.
The first thing they put out, and then I probably will be done.
That's what I do for everything.
Yeah, and I kind of backed off on that in recent years, but
But man, that last Aquaman trailer,
it was really good.
Now, see, I saw Bryce bitch about the Aquaman trailer. Okay, but listen, hold on,
Bryce, blow it out your ass.
Let me just say, I haven't seen it because I'm doing what I just described. But I've heard it multiple times before other movies where I sit there with my eyes closed.
Yeah.
I can't comment on the trailer. I haven't literally seen any images. But man, there is some dialogue that's like Saturday morning cartoon level in that trailer.
So we did get social media reviews. They are not allowed to post the full critical reviews yet, but they're allowed like 1 tweet reviews. Universally positive for Aquaman.
Yeah, I saw that. Good. Yeah, so. I'm just saying. Hearing it without seeing it, I cringe a few times.
There's the comparison that a lot of people were like, yeah, it's like a Phase 1 Marvel movie. Feels really fun, but they're kind of building into something bigger. It's like that's exactly what these should be, right? Yeah. There's a couple lines of dialogue. There was like a peeing. There was a dialogue where he's talking about like peeing on something, and you're like, whatever. I mean, it's goofy. As long as that's not like just.
Hey, as long as somebody gets stabbed in the dick in this movie, Ryan's going to love it.
Oh, yeah. But I mean, I think we're all in agreement, right? And just
for Avengers, I would just say no trailer.
No trailer. Yeah.
Why do I get?
It's not like anybody you don't have to sell it.
Yeah.
Like nobody's going to go. Well, I would have seen it if they'd had a trailer. I'll skip it now.
Yeah. One last question, and I don't know anything about this. Brandon Holmes
The
says,
Office.
Seeing some backlash towards Hush in the last few months, the Batman Hush graphic novel. Any reason in particular it's become cool to hate it? I personally still love it. I've seen this in certain things. People retroactively hating the Tobey Maguire Spider-Man movie, right? People hating like random other books that as old. I see this with Star Trek all the time. People hate the new thing and retroactively love the older thing because they hate the new thing more than they hate the old thing. You see this where you get these weird things happen where fandom kind of turns on things. But to the best of my knowledge, no, I've not seen this on Hush. No, I haven't.
Huh? That's my answer.
Yeah. If anyone else, if you have some links
to, the only thing I can think of is.
Maybe some jerk off wrote some articles saying why Hush was actually not great. And
Hush is, don't get me wrong, Hush is great, but Hush is one of those books where I'm like, they've re-put it out in new packaging like 6 times, or 7 times, or 8 times now. It's fine. It's like every single time I turn around, it's like, no, I don't need that new hardcover that's just got a new exclusive cover for this anniversary, or this one doesn't have any of the coloring, or even though I kind of want the new omnibus.
Jesus.
Yeah.
God, Charlie.
Well, I want the new omnibus because
you didn't get the absolute.
I have the absolute.
So what do you need an omnibus for?
The omnibus
says the man with 3 statues in the back room.
So
has the return of Hush.
Who are plastic, not really statues.
The heart of Hush. It's the Hush saga.
It's the Hush saga. Okay, so it's got Hush, heart of
I
Hush
have Sandman. I have the Sandman hardcovers. I have the Sandman absolutes. Right. I have all the green. I have every Green Lantern by Jeff Johns, including like every fucking variant cover. I have all the hardcovers. I have the omnibus, and I just ordered the Blackest Night 10th anniversary omnibus. Like, fuck, why not? Like, because it has everything.
Sanity?
Yeah. For their
space.
For your favorite stuff. Yeah. Every format, baby.
Yeah.
And they're doing they're redoing John's run and softcover too for Green Lanterns. Oh, we actually had a great question. We actually had a great response about this. I'm pull up my email.
What?
Take it. Well, actually, I'll probably grab it fast from my phone.
Yeah, you probably could.
Email.
What is this email he speaks of?
This was a question from
somebody with an email address.
Oops. How about?
Is this a current question?
Or is this like 2013?
It's current. I may put in the wrong thing.
Great radio.
Nope.
Yep.
See, this is where I would just insert the modem noise.
Yeah.
It's not there either.
So can we talk about how Superboy Prime sucks balls? It's the worst character ever.
You can talk about it. I like Superboy Prime.
What is wrong with you, Charlie?
Hell yeah, Superboy Prime's amazing.
Crime?
Here we go. Superboy Prime is amazing. Here we go. It's from B. Evans, or Bevins. You guys talked about your boycott of Ethan Van Sciver's work and how you balance that with the fact that you still want to buy some of his books. Here's my view. Lots of people worked on those books, not just Van Sciver. You have writers, artists, colorists, editors, letterers, and everyone involved in the business side of the company he worked for. Managers, accountants, designers, IT, gender, security, and on and on. Basically, you can't boycott something and only punish one person. Boycotts punish everyone involved. Personally, I think the best way to oppose someone's shitty views is to continue to speak out against them. Keep discussing what they're saying and explain to other people why they're wrong, though also be careful not to give them too much attention and keep up the great work. Bevins, pronounced like Evans, so Bevins. He's a long-time listener. I mean, he's written through us a lot of times for the Sing Geek Box, which is 100% true, right? I mean, it obviously, I don't feel too bad about supporting the Green Lantern or Flash books because, again, there's so much more. Now, his own shit that he's publishing on Indiegogo.
He's publishing shit?
Well, he's taking money from people. I don't know if he's publishing stuff, but he's getting money for stuff. Yeah, those are easy to ignore. But yeah, I would still highly recommend the work of much better people than him that he just happened to do the art for. I mean, I do like his art on those titles, but it is
tainted.
Yeah, the way
a little tainted.
The way I look at it is, yes, the stuff before his views are known is kind of hard to punish everybody involved in. And that being said, if for some reason DC decided to publish one of his books again, I wouldn't buy it because that sort of
new content.
Yes,
yeah.
New content.
Yep.
I wouldn't buy it, even though you could make the same argument that he's not the only one working on those books. Because at some point, a company's making a choice to
willingly work with somebody like that.
I mean,
at least without some level of sort of contrition or something.
Well, we're talking about the Bane series about Chuck Dixon. Like, that was just shit, so I just stopped buying it. But like now, like, I'm definitely not going to. I would be very surprised if he worked for DC again. Yeah. But if he does, I would absolutely not buy these books, which is, unfortunate. I did like him. It's a case where I'm fine with opposing points of view, and until you cross that, you get really
there's a line. I mean, Van Sciver for a long time was just he's just an asshole.
Yeah.
But I like his art. But he's an asshole. And then you cross the line, and you're like, nope, you're just full blown. Yeah.
All right, and on that note, we're going to wrap up. How long ass goddamn podcast, Jesus. Thank you everyone for listening to this podcast. if you have questions you want to ask us, because of some holiday scheduling, we are actually going to be recording 2 episodes next week that'll come out over the course of 2 weeks. So we're going to do like an email episode. So if you do have longer form questions or you want to send some stuff to the podcast, send us an email, thecomicconspiracy@geekbox.net.
Will one of those be an all questions episode? Is that what you...
probably going to have to be.
Yeah.
I mean, we may come up with some additional topics to discuss during that episode because we are going to be recording 2 ahead of time because I'm going to be gone the week after, but I do want to get an episode out. So we'll figure something out. And then screwy recording schedules. We're not going to miss a week. We should be, if my planning is correct. Oh, I'm sorry, 2 weeks, Brock. Not next week. I keep doing this.
Yeah. Elseworlds crossover is in 2 weeks.
Yes.
Not a week.
So we may be able to. So we'll that'll be out. That'll be out when we're recording, so it wouldn't have finished when we do by the 11th. That's going to be out that week.
What?
The crossover.
Yeah, the crossover is out that week.
So we're not going to be able to talk about it because we're
only going to have seen. It'll be finishing
Are we still
up
recording
the night.
right now?
It'll be finishing.
Okay.
It'll be finishing up the night of the 11th.
The night that we're finishing.
So we won't be able to talk about it until
like 4 weeks later. We are going to have.
Just have to figure out a way to air the final episode here and
on your top.
You ready?
List
You ready?
of the
You ready?
year.
Yeah.
We can do a 0.75 on that.
Well, it would be
Screw
literally.
you, we don't need you to
We have
record this.
2 TVs here.
Wouldn't it
we
be
can
the
have
night-
an Elseworld showing here in the store.
We can do live commentary while we're watching the third part.
Live commentary on a show none of us have seen before. So in other words, we won't hear anything that's going on. We'll just be talking over each other. Oh, that was cool. Oh, my God.
I'll be like, shut the fuck up. I'm trying to watch this.
That should be out the 18th. The 25th, which is Christmas Day, will be our Aquaman episode. And then 1st and 8th should be our end-of-year episodes. I know
I'll give you
Craig.
I'll give you a little preview of the end-of-year episode for Ryan Higgins. Stabbing in the dick. Oh, so awesome.
I didn't say it. Craig Anderson did ask in our Facebook group if we were going to be doing listener polls for our end-of-year episode. And yes, basically we're going to make a thread. I'll start with some suggested top titles, but you guys go fill in, either vote or add in your own title that you want to add to your top. I choose 3 that you want to make your top 3 in any order, because obviously, please don't vote for 19 titles, because...
Please vote.
Yes. Right. Please vote for only
let
3.
him do that?
My number 3 choice is a 9-way tie.
but we'll.
You can just see the look on Bryce's face when he listens to this.
He doesn't listen if he's not on. So all of this is safe.
But we'll have that on the Facebook.
I don't know.
He's
usually at home a lot by himself.
Leave it up for a week or 2 so people can have some time to vote and their top movies and other things. So and obviously,
God, we're doing the lists episodes.
End of the year. You got to remember what you did this year, Brock. I know it's difficult.
God, there's so much.
Well, we are going to wrap up now.
No, we're not. We never
Finally.
wrap up what we're going to do.
Julian Titus has the Nerds Without Pants podcast, so pixelbit.com. Make sure you check out his podcast.
Does he miss our no pants shout-outs?
He might. We all miss Toby. Ryan Hess has Blowhards. It's a video game podcast at blowhards.libsyn.com. Go check out that podcast as well. And Jody Lawson at the Canon Triad Comics Anthology at triadcomicstudio.com. Sam Che, Craig Anderson, Joe Duff, Andrew Nelson Mendez at the Recovery of an Anime Junkie podcast, Dar Fox 8, Larry Davis at the Stand and Deliver podcast about JoJo's Bizarre Adventure, and Page Turners, a comic book podcast where they deal with one comic at a time. That's over at pageturnerspodcast.libsyn.com. And this is the last week. We'll do our intro for all our high-tier backers, and if any new backers join, over at patreon.com/comic conspiracy, and we'll do all our end of month or beginning of month thanks. Should be next week, I think. Yeah, everything should process. Comicconspiracypodcast.com. Again, send us some long form questions. In 2 weeks, we'll be doing that double episode for the week I'm gone. So if you got some questions you want to send to us,
but we may do an episode while you're gone.
No. Geekbox.net and iTunes. You can find all our episodes there. Please rate and review us. It always helps. YouTube.com/comicsconspiracy. You can listen to all our episodes on YouTube as well. They get automatically updated. No video, just sweet audio.
You could always post some videos.
I could.
You could just post a still photo.
I've posted a couple.
Mouth open mid-sentence.
If you were not over at digital.comicsconspiracy.biz on Black Friday and Cyber Monday, you missed some killer deals. They may still be a few up, so please go check digital.comicsconspiracy.
I think they're doing a bunch this week.
.biz, yeah.
Sandman was on sale today.
Yeah. And if you want those physical comic books, comicsconspiracy.biz. We did have that Cyber Monday little coupon, and we'll probably do something again before Christmas. Remember, you can order physical comic books that will ship out to you from comicsconspiracy.biz. You can go over
I will most likely be the one packaging it.
You will. You can go over to conspiratobrock.com. That's Brock's blog and video pull list and statue unboxing videos.
He's got a bunch. Christ.
He's got 3 more coming after tonight.
Fucking A.
The Wanderers in the Fourth Dimension podcast, that's Charlie's Doctor Who podcast. He plays a lot less Marvel Puzzle Quest when he's on there. Etsy.com/shop/
we have to announce his 2 new podcasts.
Leanne Hill Art. That is my wife's Etsy store, Leanne Hill Art. We're all on Twitter. Harass us, please. Ryan Higgins Ryan. That is myself. Brock is Brock Sager. Larson Bryce. That's Bryce Larson. Toby is Toby XI. Charlie is Insanity and Chaos. Kevin is that Kevin Sharp. The store is Comics Con Store.
You forgot
Scott. Scott is CS Shea. He's not on tonight, but we'll still plug Scott. You can go talk to Scott on there. Geekbox Comedy Button, Manga Machinations, and Infinite Binge over on YouTube. Those are other little podcasts and little video series in our network. Go check those guys out. And not expecting 2-hour episode this week. Jesus Christ. Just that goddamn Dan Didio and those Titans, man. They get me going.
Oh, yeah.
Get me going about
and that in Black Friday.
Get me going about Sodom yet. Yep. Yeah, and Black Friday, too. All right. Thanks, everyone. We'll catch you next week.